It's a great honor to invite you guys to join our panel today. And then I know that all of us are from like different like countries and working on different projects in different like directions, but we all like going towards the Web3 world in the future. So yeah, why not just we can just introduce ourselves first and then talking about like our backgrounds and the projects we're working on. And yeah, we can get started by doing this. Anyone wants to do it now? Or I can go first. So yeah, my name is Yisi. I'm the founder CTO at Mass Network. We have been like working on this like Chrome extension or browser extension for like 2 or almost 3 years. Our goal is always like to protect users' privacy and data like on social networks. If you take a look at our like extension, it's pretty simple. We help you encrypt your data, your like your post on social media, and then you can decide whom to access this content, who cannot. And we also did a lot of like injections so that our users can get access to the Web3 or blockchain or like especially like Ethereum and EVM projects directly on Twitter by making the payloads as a script that anybody who installs this extension can like render such an interface to get access to that app. And our goal is to bridge the existing Web2 like users to the Web3 like decentralized applications easily on social medias. So yeah, that's pretty much what we're doing. And can you guys like follow me on the introduction?
Yeah, sure. Hi, I'm Theo Goodman. I'm a community manager or head of community at Nym. And we're building the main thing is a mixnet, which will give people network level privacy. We're building infrastructure for network level privacy, where the tools right now are not quite enough. VPNs and Tor are great, but they're not quite enough for strong network level privacy. And for Web3, I think network level privacy is coming into focus a little bit, but it's kind of a missing element. It's always been a missing element in the cypherpunk trifecta. You have money, like coin. You have encryption, like you said, and then you need also network level privacy too. So it's kind of a final, maybe not the final, but it's an element that we need to build on. And yeah, that's my real quick introduction.
Thank you. Makoto?
Yeah, hello. Hi, I'm Makoto. I'm one of the developer at Ethereum name service. And the ENS is basically providing a naming service for Ethereum. That was a starting point. There's a guy called Nick Johnson. He used to be one of the Ethereum Foundation developer team, and he started kind of his side project, which got launched 2017, then got into its own foundation in 2018. And I used to be a developer based in London where he was there, so I knew about the project, and then I joined in 2018. And since then, I've been doing various parts of the devs. I do write smart contract, front end, data analytics, and until recently I was doing community management, but now it's taken over by amazing Alicia is she's doing it. But yeah, because I've been there almost kind of since the beginning. Like I wasn't the team, but like in 2017, but I was aware of what's all going on, so I just tend to know lots of ENS. And it's an interesting kind of challenging topic about privacy, because we don't really hide that we don't really privacy. We are basically providing a kind of identity on Ethereum. So everything great about ENS is because Ethereum is great, and we are only making it important. But at the same time, everything risky about privacy we don't introduce. It's just like Ethereum provides that security or privacy concern as is, and the ENS just make it more example. Initially started as a more aligning ourselves to kind of DNS or internet domain that you can kind of you look up that angle, but we have a feature called primary ENS where you can associate your ICM address to name you hold, so that whenever you log into, for example, Uniswap, now you see ECM, your ENS name as almost as a user address and a username, which can inherit whether you go to OpenSea or any Aave or any other place where it integrates with Ethereum, which is great. But that also I think about 3 months ago, EtherScan integrated with ENS, which made it very, very obvious like who you're sending from who, which was nothing special. It's been like this since it's been started. Like you can see who sent to who, but making it as a user, I think, identifiable username made it super explicit that now people has to be more aware of the, I think, privacy. And ENS kind of making it as a kind of trigger point for people like, oh, actually, I'm exposing everything to the, I think in that regards, I'm really interested to learn from you guys who's really into the forefront of the privacy.
Okay, thank you for your brief but not brief introduction. And I do like what you just said about ENS, that you guys just provide a better identifier to users, or an easier identifier to the users to show on their to show on blockchains. But yeah, of course, it introduced some privacy issues or privacy concerns, just like me. I always go by Yisi, and then that's been my name for tens of 20s of years. And then I put Yisi.is on my primary address. And then now I'm just so aware of all the transaction I made, because everybody can see that and then know that I was making this transaction. It's good because we can easily see that I'm interacting with someone, but sometimes I got so annoyed that I just want to hide some of my footprints, but it's super hard to do so. So yeah, we will talk about this thing later in this panel. But first, maybe we can talk about some the first topic, which is data sovereignty. Well, maybe I can just make some brief introduction on this. So Web3 is aiming to bring the data ownership back to the users, to a user-centric autonomous public sphere. So what do you guys think about data sovereignty in general from your perspective? Specifically, how do you think the technology you are building contribute to a better implementation of data sovereignty regulations? For ENS, and then how do you guys think you can grant such rights to the users, and in which way it can be improved in the future? So yeah, I'm more acting as a just asking questions, but I can join the conversation later with you guys.
Sure. Well, yeah, of course, data sovereignty is important for Web3. That's part of the whole point. And as far as Nym is concerned, yeah, without network level privacy, you're not going to have, at least the option for it, you're not going to have much sovereignty, because right now governments, that's what they harvest. That's the main thing they harvest. They harvest the metadata. All of the Snowden book, it's all over the Snowden book, and it's all over some of the articles that he wrote. When he first came out with everything, he said metadata is what is the main thing that the NSA was interested in collecting. The time of who talks to who, when, how often. And if we can't selectively disclose that, then we don't have sovereignty over our data. It's kind of like if someone was just sitting outside of your house all the time watching who goes in and out, well, then you don't really have very much sovereignty then. I mean, you can do what you want in your house, but you still have a lack of sovereignty. So imagine if you in the authoritarian country like North Korea, maybe, or I don't know, or maybe a Belarus or somewhere, and it's be like, okay, of course we can't go in your house if you turn off all your devices. We don't know what you're doing, but we're going to watch who you talk to, who goes in your house, how often. And so basically, yeah, without network level privacy, you can't have sovereignty. So how would Nym help? Well, our MixNet would help, because that would you could send any data packets through the MixNet. And what that means practically would be something like an Ethereum transaction or a Bitcoin transaction. And that would include a Web3 interaction, so it doesn't have to be necessarily a financial transaction. It could be sending a picture of a cat, NFT, or it could be transferring an ENS domain. And then you could add network level privacy to the transaction. So yeah, I mean, network level privacy is fundamental to data sovereignty. And right now we're basically using the tools we have. Like, a lot of people use VPN, a lot of people use Tor, and it's kind of the best we have now. So we just want to expand on that, basically, and to make, yeah, that's super important for data sovereignty in general.
Oh, thank you. So yeah, I totally agree with that, because as you said, like NSA, where like CIA only care about like the metadata instead of like the content, because like sometimes just the fact that I'm talking to whom is already like enough for them to do some investigations or some like derivations. And then I totally agree that we should finally protect this. But sometimes I think like data sovereignty is kind of like tricky stuff, because like sometimes you want to like hide yourself, but sometimes you want to like express yourself, or like make yourself like public. How can we just like differentiate these two actions? I guess like maybe I can just if you have anything to say.
Yeah, I just have like a quick, well, it's all about choice. And so there's two parts of that. Kind of how Makoto, sorry, I hope I pronounced it right. Makoto was talking about the domain. How to say it again?
Makoto.
Makoto, sorry. Yeah. Makoto was talking about the domains earlier. How it makes it really obvious now. So there's two parts. People are going to have to learn. Even though we make tools, people are not used to using them. So people are going to have to learn like, and so the kind of the ENS that probably wasn't the intention of ENS, but that kind of showed, like you said, it showed people, hey, this is really obvious. It's no longer 0x123 ABC sending to 0x Z5. It's now sending to John, sending to Sally, and it's very obvious. So yeah, and sometimes we want that. We just want to be able to turn it on and off when we want, and we need a way for those footprints to be not interlinked with private footprints, which is the tricky part, which I don't think there's an easy solution. Right. But it's just about building tools that can allow this choice. And then the next level is people understanding how to use the tools, and enough people using the tools so that it's not obvious. Because if only a few people do it, then like if a few people use the MixNet or even Mask or a lot of these things, if it's only a few people doing it, that's not enough. It needs to be a lot of different people doing it in order for us to have privacy. So we need to teach a lot of people, different people, not only Ethereum people, like also people that don't care about Ethereum, and like all kinds of different people. So that's all of those things are really key to data sovereignty, and being able to turn the privacy on and off, or different levels, is like selective disclosure. Just like it's all about how, what part do I want to share, or maybe I can just share a signature that proves ownership, but that doesn't mean I'm sending something. So if it was like blockchain, maybe I can just share a signature with the app, and then I don't have to transact on the blockchain, for example. That would be a concrete example.
Right. Thank you so much for sharing. And yeah, I believe that privacy, well, like any tool needs like users. And if we don't really have users, how can we just build a powerful tool to defend the things we're against for? And then yes, the opposite. I mean, like ENS has been running for almost since 2014. It's almost like four years or 5 years. Like, I mean, like you guys are building such a easy tool, or a like easy identifier, or short identifier for them users to express themselves. Have you guys thought about like data sovereignty or anything related to this? And then we're eager to hear that.
Yeah, I mean, I already kind of mentioned in my introduction that we kind of build on top of the gray, so Ethereum or blockchain in general, and the blockchain in general is everything is public, so it doesn't really give strong tool. Well, there's a couple right now that doesn't give. I think in general, by default, people should treat that everything you do is in public, so you have to do it accordingly. We often get when I was doing more active on the support, I often get a question of hey, how do I delete my ownership of this name because I no longer want to be associated with this one? And I said, yeah, you can, but you can't. So I can set X as a record of that name, but that doesn't stop you the fact that you used to set this record from this period to this period. So the trail of everything you did is already connected. And even for or I think quite often, for example, on ENS now we are focusing on the avatar display that you can associate your favorite NFT into your ENS name, so that in our, if you search as Makoto.is, you actually see some my something of Bastard Punk, which I own as the ENS name. But it's a bit risky if you want to do it for the punk you own, right? Because now punk or Bored Ape is becoming so valuable that many people, I think, I keep hearing every day oh my God, my account got compromised and I lost my punk. And now it's becoming so valuable thing. So people start wearing, people who came from NFT world especially had no association that your identity is also the vault. So even though you have to use it to express your things that you're expressing your own, but at the same time you have to protect your bank account. And the typical thing is, okay, so let's have your public identity into your ENS, but let's not tie in with your stash in your Aave or something. But if you have to think about it, is your trail of the transparency, it starts from when you purchase the name. So if you have a vault, if you fund it to buy the new name, you already revealed the part of it, right? So if you really, really want to be paranoid, do it. You have to go through something like a tornado or something to obfuscate, your trail. So that kind of level of paranoia doesn't come naturally with people who's new to blockchain, right? I've been in this industry for 5 years. Still, I don't think I'm perfect on OPSEC, right? You have, so that kind of stuff. And now we suddenly saying hey, this is a casual thing, this is a Web3 username, but actual Web3 username attached with your bank account. That's a whole new thing. So I think people still not new to this. I think we onboard a lot of new people into this world, crypto world, where whenever you reveal, people are trying to attack you, right? Like, so that's new things I think people have to be aware. And whatever the new security team to, as a CEO said, to switch on and off the kind of privacy aspect is not just for private. Yeah, like I think it directly has implications, not personal choice to be not seen. It's just like if I revealed it, then I'm exposed for past, potential attack. I think that's a new level of things that people have to think about it.
Right. Thank you so much for sharing. And then like continuing from what you said, that for now, right now, like users are using their bank account to represent them. How do you think about this like thing? I mean, like for now, like my wallet address is my ID. But if I lose my ID, I lose my everything. I lose my asset, and vice versa. If I lose my like a bank account, I even like I think this is more serious since like if I lose my like a bank account, like say my password to my bank account, I lose my ID, and then someone else can like represent myself to behave badly. How do you think about this? How do you think about like this scheme in the Web3 world? Is it a good thing, or how? Like, yeah, just.
Well, there's a few things going on there. I mean, if you lose the ENS domain itself can be transferred, so you wouldn't lose your address then, And the other thing is the other thing. So yeah, it's a hard problem about the financial aspect. And so what I wanted to say is the good thing about ENS and identity that I don't think, maybe not what was intentional, but what I realized is that, and we didn't talk about with data sovereignty, is the ability to forget. And that's what we're lacking a lot. But ENS names can expire. So in a way, they kind of forget. I mean, I can't really delete it, but at least they expire. So I could say, I don't like this identity anymore, or this domain, I could just leave it. Now, someone else could register it, but that's kind of interesting from a privacy point of view. You see what I mean? Or I could just, I mean, it's not really privacy, it's more obscuring, but I could also, or maybe if I did Tornado, I could like send my domain, hop my ENS domain around to a bunch of different addresses, and because it's just an easy way to access an address. It's not the actual address itself. So I could connect it to a lot of different things. And so an identity, but the thing that is good about that makes it tricky, like what you said is, and with blockchain, is that you want to have an identity, you want to have, it should have some form of reputation, and it should somehow represent who you know and who will vouch for you, because that's basically what we have in real life. If I meet you in real life, I say, oh, Theo. And so it's kind of like, oh, you already are connected. You will vouch for each other. That's a good person, right? So we want to somehow do that. And that can't be private, but but when I meet someone, I don't say, hi, I know Theo, and Theo knows 500 other people. That's what we want to stop. So ENS does some good things in that it might not have done it on purpose, but it has a weird ability to forget, in that the domain could expire, or that you could send it somewhere else. And I think that people haven't really thought about that aspect of it. And I think that's a good part. That's a pretty interesting part.
Thank you.
Yeah, I didn't associate the expiration that way. That's kind of interesting take.
Right, because like I earlier today I just talked to Makoto about this, because like I was saying that if I register my ENS name, who am I? Like, am I this like ENS name or my address? What if it expires? Or what if I transfer that to someone else? Am I still like this ENS name? Because like I guess that's a pretty tricky stuff. Because like if you know me, that I know, hey, I am Eth, and then you just like treat it that way. But you don't really know that I transferred it out, and then you still to transfer money to Eth, but that's like onto another address apparently. Now, what can you do? Like, you just know like my ENS name instead of my address, and then if I transfer it out, I'm someone else, or this ENS name is someone else. How can you just differentiate this like problem, or how do you solve this problem in general? You don't really want to like, you don't really want
No,
your
no.
friends.
Well, I think just one differentiation is like a ownership and resolving is a two different thing.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
that like you might own it, but you points to something else. So, for example, back to the security issue, like you points to the name which you often use, and you probably set to your MetaMask or something. And the
Right.
more site you go through, there's a risk of getting compromised. But one way is you can set to your primary address, your name, but your ownership can be some of the hardware wallet which you rarely touch. So you can kind of separate ownership and your presentation, which solves quite a lot of security, but not many people do. Even I don't do, because sending ownership of like 4 or 5 different names costs quite a lot of gas nowadays. But yeah, that's a different thing. So yeah,
Right.
and also another thing is you are not necessarily sending transfer into the name. We are just looking up, right? And whatever the address it returns, we are sending to that address. So
Right.
I don't know if that answers the question, but yeah,
Right.
it's a bit philosophical question, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, I don't really want to challenge you guys, but I think that's my like a really like serious realm from me, because like I'm so scared that I forgot to like renew my ENS name, that what if I forgot about it and then someone else just registered and then resolved to their like address. People like know me can directly send funds to this address instead of like a really, right? And that's why I register my ENS name to 2050 in case I forgot about it. So yeah, I mean, that's a huge issue to me, and then I bet that's gonna be a huge issue to some like to other people who totally don't really get that their ENS name can expire sometime in the future. And yeah, do you wanna?
I think no, like I think expiration is good and bad. Like yeah, there's a right to expire, but at the same time, like if you lose a key, you never be able to recover anyway if it doesn't expire, right? But like I mean, if you extend for 50 years, yeah, you can't recover for 50 years. So it's kind of hard to solve all problem in one shot.
Thank you.
Yeah,
yeah, I totally agree with that.
But at the same time, like if you never be able to expire, we do think about like in the very beginning we used to have the locking system that like we lock the deposit, and while you deposited the name, you keep it, and like once you released, you put back. We have incentive that almost becomes like free saving account. So okay. Then back in 2017, I think we had about 180,000 names registered in the duration of 2-3 months, which was like probably bigger than any ICO or something like that. Wow. But majority of the names hasn't really been used. So the name expired we changed logic to just use an annual basic fee model. That's in 2019. And we said we have 1 year to make people renew. And after 1 year, so which was 2020, just last year, we actually made it expire. And I think half the name actually did expire. But like 90% of the name, we still have. So we still have 90% of the name. So we still have 10% 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 of the name. So we sti which is some people genuinely forget and lost. I think, I don't know if I can say, yeah, NBA.is, they actually got the name and they lost. But the person who snatched it decided to donate to NBA, back to NBA, so they got the name back apparently. But yeah, there is some unfortunate event, but at the same time, there's lots of names just like squatted. These names got released, and then now that someone else, I think there's a couple of names. I think they just waited until they expire and just took it back. Not took it back, but like, took it. So like again, like if you keep it forever, it's okay for 5 years time. But like if 50 years from now, the more it lasts, then eventually all the interesting names are available. Then the name becomes less useful. But that's kind of, yeah, I don't think our annual current model is ideal, but at the same time, I think it's a bit of a necessary evil, I would say.
Thank you so much for the elaboration on this. And then, yeah, I know, I totally agree that this is a problem that cannot be like well solved, because like it happens like everywhere, especially in the physical world. You can forget about anything, and I don't think that's can be like resolved or that can be saved by any like technology. It's just humanity. And yeah, I mean, let's continue, because we didn't have that much time. I guess I just don't really want to spend like 2 hours with you guys, and then yeah, that'll be like inefficient. So yeah, I mean, like talking about like ENS, where all the ENS, well, or the user data, and how do you guys think about, like, because like if I own an ENS name, I will generate a lot of data, and especially on the on the Ethereum dApps right now, it generates like millions, sorry, not millions, but like thousands, tens of thousands of like transactions each hour. How can we just like, and we all know that Ethereum or blockchain is all public. How can we just like take the good usage of it instead of like acting bad on it? I mean, like ENS can be a good example, because like for all the ENS users, you can like connect a lot of like identities and personal information with your like ENS name. Take me as an example. I put my like GitHub and Twitter and even like email address with my like ENS name. How do you think? How do you guys think it can be like further utilized, or how do you think in which way we can like better use these data? And then while using that, would it cause any like privacy issue at all?
I guess it's kind of conflicting question that yeah, if you make blockchain generates lots of data, and by making a connection, you can make use of it. But how you can, but at the same time, you said how do you protect the privacy?
Right. Well, will it cause any like privacy issue at all? Because
yeah, if you, I guess, associated the information you don't want to be associated, that would cause the issue. I think again, blockchain makes it super obvious. Like if you use email and all that Web2 information, you actually, like all the people, I think it's selective. Like only the people who harness the data can make use of it. And you have no idea what information is taken by who. I think that's the Web2 world, that like only the people who has that power has the ways to generate. Whereas Web3, anyone can do it, right? So that makes things super, super obvious. But like if you make some precautional measure to separate your public identity and private identity, and there's a tools to do that, that means no one can do it. So there's no extra privilege for people to, get that information. So like it's depends on how you to it. Like if there's a knife, you can use it to cook this meal, or you can stop people. I think. Yeah.
It's a double edge, right?
Yeah.
And I don't like. To me, I guess yeah. Sorry, Theo, but I want to elaborate a little on this because like I don't really think that we can like change anything or help like make it better or more private within the technology because like users still like don't really understand the technology. Even they are using a really highly secure one like Tor or even them, right? I mean, like it's more like we need to educate users that to if you want to protect your privacies or if you want to better use your data, you will have to like take like high caution. Like you need to be like cautious and know that technology is not. It's a tool, but it can act good, but as it also can act bad. I mean, like ENS is a great tool to me because like I've been using that for long, not that long, but I really like it. I put I put my Twitter and email address was my like ENS name like since like maybe 2 years ago, and then I really like it. I want users, I want everybody else to find me with my ENS name and to better know me. But sometimes I feel that as Makoto just said, like on either scan, you can like reverse proxy your like ENS name with your address. I got a little bit concerned because like people will know what I'm doing apparently. Well, still like they can know that like in the past because like everything is public, but now they know like with an easy interface to know that I'm making some transactions with someone else.
Sorry for stopping, but without reverse record, aka primary name, people can still find you, right?
Right,
the
right.
fact that you use this address who bought the ENS name to do this transaction, you already have a clue, the breadcrumbs spread. It's just primary name makes you remind
to
you.
identify. Right,
Yeah,
right.
and you don't need a 5 years blockchain data mining experience. You just like someone who's new to blockchain, even they can spot it, right? So it's almost like same thing. Or people, how do you kind of differentiate this is fake as true? Well, even real world, like because spotting the real and fake, you need a special skill. But now in NFT world, the fact that someone made a signature to attest this art belongs to me, I don't need like 5 years of like art and these kind of things. Like if I know the basic of blockchain, I can already spot it. So that made kind of democratized the data harnessing to everybody. Yeah, and people didn't know that was possible in the world of Web 2 because everything was like in hidden. Web 3 just made it super explicit.
Right. So yeah, thanks.
But that's about I think data sovereignty. That it's not about the freedom; it's also responsibility, and it's very hard to have a sovereignty. Like for why still so many people just put into crypto into the centralized exchange because it's easier. They can at the same time they get attacked. Whereas if you have a wallet, yes, I have sovereignty against my asset. But at the same time, you have to level up your skill to protect yourself, right? So it's not about it's all the good rosy things. It's more about responsibility that you are more responsible for your own stuff. And you now have a control over the data, but it's very easy to be leaked. So you have to. That's up to you to make it protect your data privacy.
Thank you. I really like that. It's more about like responsibility instead of like the technology itself because well you still like need to manage yourself to better protect yourself. So yeah, what do you think like Theo? I mean like Nym has been trying to like protect our metadata. I guess like transactions where anything we're doing in the Web3 world could like generate like metadata. How do you think that you guys can help us in this new world to better protect our like privacy? Like, yeah, just please go ahead.
Sure. No, I think that, well, like I said earlier, even if you have, ZK rollups or Tornado, or that's, on Ethereum, you still don't have network level privacy when you're using that. So there's, the on-chain privacy world, and then there's the network level privacy world. But it also goes for interesting of the layer 2 solutions. So like in Bitcoin Liquid, that has something called confidential transactions. So so it has a kind of on-chain privacy. And I think on Ethereum, there's Secret Network that has a bridge that's compatible with Ethereum. So, and that whole network has, smart contracts and everything, and it has on-chain privacy. And I think there's going to be other layer 2 solutions for Ethereum that have on-chain, some kind of on-chain privacy. So if you combine on-chain privacy with network level privacy, then you have something pretty strong right there. If you just one is good, but it's not gonna help that much. But what I think we're getting into kind of a more philosophical discussion about privacy in general, which is good, is that I wanted to say the whole ENS thing, we need to also think about flipping the script, transparency for the powerful, and privacy for everybody else. So maybe politicians should have an ENS domain, and everyone can just watch, where the contributions come in, or maybe a CEO or a company, could have this and use it as a way to show, hey, we are being transparent about what we're doing with the money, or how much we're doing, et cetera, et cetera. So I think, we've already identified that these tools are very strong in a public way, that we can see when we're scared about that. That's true. But we can also think of ways where are we lacking transparency? We're lacking transparency in the people we're trying to hide from. You know what I mean? It's like, so we need so we can demand, or we can build tools where, hey, government, you should act in a more transparent way. People with power should act in a more transparent way. And maybe you can use those tools, and we can use them when we want. But you have the obligation, since you have the power, then for now you have the obligation to show some transparency. And I think that's an interesting way to look at it.
Thanks. But how do you think about, like, I mean, like Nym is apparently not interacting with on-chain data or on-chain like actions, but how can you just like put yourself, like put like Nym onto like or in another way, in another word is that how do you guys think you can like team up with all the existing like decentralized applications on not just Ethereum, but in general blockchain world?
Okay, well, the best way would be the users don't even know they're using Nym. And so the way that would work is that you build the application, and let's say it's a Web3 app. Then you have a node, and that node routes all its transactions through the Nym mixnet. And when a user interacts with that node, then the transactions go through the Nym mixnet. That would be like a real simple way. So users could just route all of their transactions through the Nym mixnet in the same way that so in Bitcoin it's has more of a privacy ethos from cypherpunk. A lot of the wallets, you can set the proxy, and you can set it in a way to use Tor. So you already can route the transaction. So for Nym, that's really easy. You just change it. You just run a Nym client and you run it through Nym. So that's just like a real practical way how it would work right now. So that already can work with the testnet right now. And so with Ethereum, we've noticed there aren't a lot of wallets that have that ready to go. You have to, there's still a ways to go with that. But I think that also just for marketing purposes for an app, if you said, okay, we have this Web3 app, and or we have a new metaverse. We built a whole metaverse, and all the actions are going to be that are any kind of transactions are going to be sent through the Nym mixnet. Because I think that we need things like that. So that's a real basically right now any transaction would be sent through the mixnet. And you just have to run it. The user would have to run a client, but best would be the app itself already is doing it. So the users don't even know that they're doing it. It's just like privacy by default, which would be the best way. And I think that I just said metaverse, but without getting too off topic, I think that it's related to ENS domains and the whole conversation here. We need a kind of a new coalition of like NFT, metaverse, and privacy, like a privacy coalition, NFT, metaverse, privacy coalition, or something like that. There's so many people, new people to the whole ecosystem, and they come from a totally different kind of value set. And they're kind of done with Facebook too. They've had enough of it too, but maybe they don't or cypherpunk privacy background, but they know that it's a problem. And so we have to figure out, I don't have the solution either, but we all have to figure out a way to communicate with these people and say, hey, when you're sending your pictures of cats and stuff, that needs privacy too, because that could also, or like in China, if I send a picture of Winnie the Pooh, maybe it's not allowed, because Winnie the Pooh is banned. So it sounds crazy, but I think that cats and frogs and pictures can help promote privacy.
Okay, thank you. So like that's pretty like interesting, because like I was talking to like Makoto-san earlier today, and then we talk about like how Nym works, and then I said, well, it works like Tor, but it's a better one. And then he said he just mentioned that actually ENS can have a like Onion ID or Onion like website to set in their like ENS content record. And then if you're using like Tor browser, you can directly like resolve the like the Onion address to the correct one, and then you can browse like Tor. You can browse that website inside of the Tor with ENS. So how do you guys think about like this thing? Because like as Theo just said, we need a collision, and then because like ENS and Nym are at least in my opinion, you guys are on two different directions. In that ENS like works so much on the like on the easiness of user on board, because like it's super easy for users to set up their ENS and then and further use it. But Nym in the country, users may not know Nym, and then they don't even know how to run a node, and then they just know that their privacy need to be protected. But if their privacy is getting protected, their easiness or the convenience will lose. So this is a trade-off between the privacy and the easiness or the convenience of this product. How can we just combine you guys together for the users to get on board to the Web3 world? In another word, how can we just like the ENS plus tour example? Is it a good like example of or use case of how you guys can get connected or how you guys can team up to build a better world?
You mean
I think there are
go ahead.
2 points that, yeah, sorry. So ENS have various use cases. And the Onion example you mentioned is about making Onion address human readable. If Nym has some sort of unique identifier to browse certain content, I think that partly one of my teammate like a Facebook Thor.is or something, where if you go there, you can browse the Facebook content without going to face.com or something. And apparently that's kind of privacy preserved. If Nym has a content ID and if it's supported, we support it, you can use it for browsing. That's one purpose. Then a more primary use case of sending payment for that, I think it's not to do with CNS, but it's more to do with partnering with something like Tornado, because that's more about mixing transaction, right? And even if you use Tornado to mix transactions, if you are connected to some node and a node has access to your IP, your identity could get leaked. That's where I think you kind of have to mix with Nym. So I think that's 2 different layers. Yes, one for the content browsing, yes, we can support content hash, but for the transaction mixing, I think it's more to do with Tornado than ENS itself. You can still send to ENS, right? Well, Ethereum address, but it's in that case, it's more about you want to give a source where you came from, not necessarily the destination. ENS is always about the destination, right? So yeah, that is my thought.
I like that. Sounds good about the destination idea. Nym is not ready for like web browsing right away. We might be able to do something, but it's more for sending. You can imagine it like sending packets through. So I think that this definitely adding privacy to someone using Tornado or something like that, and they're just using ENS as the destination, that definitely be something, you know, that could work early on. So that's clearly possible. The whole web browsing thing is like a whole nother discussion that has to be kind of unpacked technically. But I think that that sounds really interesting, and that could be possible. We also have another thing called coconut credentials, which is kind of like a blind signature scheme that we have created that's like also a selective disclosure. That could also be something interesting. And yeah, I was also thinking like, you know, people sign that they control this ENS name, and they send that privately, maybe through either coconut credentials or through the mixnet somehow. So it's not necessarily a transaction, it's just even just a signature secretly shared, you know. So there's a lot of, I mean, there could be some other uses like that that could be real interesting. So yeah, I think there's a lot to do, but I think there are some practical things that can be done rather sooner than we think.
Okay, thank you guys for today's panel. I mean, like it's already been like quite long, and I just want to like end this like short words. So like the reason why we're inviting you guys together in this panel is that you guys are apparently from different like directions or different like world. We just want to like connect people together. That because like the Web3 users or the new users that's heading up to the Web3 world do not know anything about like privacy, or do not know anything about like how they're gonna browse the internet within this world. They just know this is a really good direction to go to. And then as Theo just said, like they know Facebook's bad, but what is good? What is better? We need to educate them this. We want some like products in the Web3 world that is as easy to use as like ENS, so that users can just easily know the other's name instead of like remembering like the whole like 20 bytes of the public addresses. But we, in the other side, we also need like things like Nym to better protect users' privacy, because like privacy is it belongs to users, and then that's their like own thing, and then they can decide their privacy, how their privacy is being treated, instead of like being abused by the giant companies or giant platforms. So we need to find such a trade-off where we need a better like product where education that educates our users what is good and what is bad. And here are all the options you have right now. And you can like take the risk, or you can take the safe one. By doing this panel, I just want to like let the users or let the audiences know like there are like great products out in the Web3 world, and please take a look at all the options and all the possibilities you have, instead of like eating like that's real bad, but eating the dog food being fed by someone else. And yeah, I think that'll be today. And then if you guys want to elaborate more, go ahead. But if not, we can probably just end this panel.
It was great talking to you guys. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes, security privacy is something, yeah, we get asked a lot, and we don't have a perfect answer yet. So it's a great opportunity to think about all these things.
Yeah, thanks a lot for having me. Great discussion, and yeah, talk to you guys soon.
Thank you. Thank you so much for coming today. Bye-bye.